What is going on? Laser Focus Solutions Media here. Christopher Godwin, your host, and I wanted to discuss with you how we estimate projects, specifically painting. So tonight I went out to a client's house, and a lot of times customers ask me right then and there, so how much is this going to cost? And as much as I would love to be able to provide an estimate right then and there, I think it's best, that I sometimes take away my notes. I use an app called Company Cam. I take photos. I go home and I sit down and I really think about the project, right? So in this case, a client called me out for leaking roof ceiling. And when I get there, it was identified that there were several leaks, which really didn't, I still am puzzled as to the how, right? And the reason why I'm puzzled to the how is because if Laser Focused Solutions, I'm going to go out and provide just that, right? A solution to the client. I want to make sure that we're not going to repeat this, right? So my first question to the client um, was basically, you know, is there a bathroom upstairs, obviously? And she said yes. And I said, okay, well, there's the tub. And how do we get out here in the middle of the room with another leak? And it's like, one of these isn't like the other kind of thing. So then she says, well, I got one leak over here too. And I turned around and sure enough, she's got another leak. And I'm like, man, another leak. But it's right at the tape joints, which makes sense. So water's sitting up there, it's finding its way through, it's hitting the tape joints and it's coming down. So I said, ma'am, I would suggest that you call a certified plumber and have them come out and ensure the leaks are fixed. And then we'll come back and we'll make the repairs as needed. She says, well, how much is that going to cost? And I said, well, I'd have to go back and look at, my system, right, and price it out accordingly. And I do that for several reasons. A lot of times clients want you to rush into a price, okay? And in this case, I have to understand, what is going to be the scope of work, right? And so again, I go back and I think on it, price out the material, and I provide that customer with an estimate. So before I was leaving, she says, well, how much would it cost to paint the entire first floor? And so then I started looking at that same scenario. How much is that going to cost? Well, in this case, there happens to be, some marks on the wall, whether it be nicks and scratches and dents or whatever. There happens to be some crowns or marker of sort on the walls, which is not uncommon for homes with young kids to have that. But again, I have to go back and I have to make sure that I'm asking, the right questions to myself. Like, okay, am I including the right prep work to make sure that when I put a coat of paint on these walls, it's not going to bleed through? Am I going to give the client the best provided solution, right? So for me, it doesn't do me any good to sit there and just provide a price and spit it out, okay? So then from there, now that I have what she wants done, now the question I ask a client is, okay, what are you looking for in results, right? Are you looking for a top premier product finish, right? Or are you looking for what you currently have, which looked to be just contractor grade, flat paint finish, ceilings, walls, and trim were all consistent in white? And, she replied back, what's here now, right? So that helps me understand, okay, now I don't need to go to Sherwin-Williams and say, give me duration, give me Emerald or one of those products, right? I got to make sure that I'm going with the price point of product that she wants, okay? So knowing that, now that helps me also price out the job, right? So then from there, now that I know the product in where she wants from good, better, best, now I know what scope of work she wants done. I can now sit down and think through the labor that it's going to take me to do this job. And I could put together a price and provide it to her, right? And that's kind of how I price out painting jobs, okay? Now, I really didn't give you much detail in regards to quantities and that kind of stuff. So typically in a room, I figure we're going to burn up at least 2 gallons in a ceiling, 2 gallons on a wall, And semi-gloss seems to go forever and a day. So, I mean, I bought a gallon of semi-gloss for a client's house. I'm on my third or fourth bedroom, room, and still got some left over. So, and I don't typically include doors. So in my prices, I have a basic package that would be ceilings and walls, excludes trim, right? And then if the customer wants trim, then I'll include that as well. And then if they want doors, lastly, I'll add doors. I say that because I've gone out and I've priced out jobs to what I think they want. Okay. So in my old self would have went out to this customer site and I would have priced out the best paint product, which would be Duration in my, what I deal with Sherwin-Williams. And I would have priced it out in a way, and provided them with my estimate. And it would have got rejected like that. And then I do a discovery, well, why didn't you go with me and why'd you go with somebody else? Or I'll see the finished product of somebody else because, sometimes that happens too. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, that's not even what I was scoping. That's not even what I was quoting. I could have went different. That's interesting. So that's the stuff that I think about, and learn over time. So again, 2 gallons of ceiling paint, in a big room, you can get away with 1 gallon. But if it's an older facility, a new construction even, they slop paint up, man. They suck it right up. So you got to be careful, underestimating. In this case, she's got a entryway, a front room, let's call it. She's got a stairwell. It's 2-story vaulted. She's got a living room, kind of like an eat-in kitchen area, and then the kitchen. She wants the nook area by the garage painted as well. And then I feel like there was a bathroom downstairs, a powder room, which also had some patchwork and such. So, I mean, the good news is I'll be able to buy flat paint for all of it, but I'll be buying probably 2 5-gallon buckets, if not 3. Again, I could just tell these walls are going to suck it up. So that's how I'm going to price this job out. I'm going to sit down, post this video. I guess I could share my screen and walk you through. Nah, I'd rather not. I'm not there yet. I'm not there to share my House Call Pro screen and show you because I don't want to give away some privacy of a client's address or name. I have to get better with that kind of stuff, with being able to blur out things and just, again, out of respect to my clients and respect to people, I want to make sure that I'm doing my due diligence on my end. So I'm going to end the video with this. I want to thank everybody for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, tell your friends. We really do appreciate it. We are a growing channel. We have been getting some subscriptions of recent, and very much appreciate that. So today's video again was just to kind of go over an estimate that I'm going to be putting together once I hit this end button here and send it out to a client, and we'll get this thing going. So appreciate your time. Peace out. I'm going to stop the video. Have a good night.